Anyways, so all right, well, it's 12:01. Let's go here. Let's get rolling here. So today we are talking about how to build a sustainable and scalable business. So I want you to take off your team hats and think more like agent hats because I think that's what our people here want to hear. And and what are you doing to build a scalable business? We all have had successful individual businesses as we started. So to go back to those moments, how do you build to get to where you are today? So we'll go ahead and start with Dennis.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing for everybody to be scalable is to be really consistent with your marketing, right? Um, Marketing has changed a lot over the years. Mitch, you taught me 20 years ago how to do online lead generation. I think it's a little more tough to do that nowadays, for sure.
From
Um,
Mulgar.
can you hear me okay, Mitch?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So the online lead generation, I mean, that's consistent. I think that's getting tougher. One of my big pillars now is what Matt, you taught me a couple of years ago, is the newsletter. That thing is just keeps crushing it year after year. So, be very consistent with your marketing. I mean, direct mail, for a while there, direct mail was like taboo. Oh, direct mail's dead, all this stuff. And it's all online, which is a bunch of crap because direct mail works incredibly well, as Matt can testify, right? So that's a good thing, guys. When everybody discounts something, sometimes there's an opportunity there, right? So really to scale, Mitch, is to find what works. Find what works for your business, whether it's open houses, whether it's direct mail, whether it's online lead generation, whether it's calling other agents, EXP agents, or whatever agents around the country trying to get referrals. You could make that a core of your business, is just reach out to other agents in your network and just offer them up referrals. I'm your person in San Diego. I'm your person in Tennessee, wherever you are. So, just be really consistent. So when I find something that works, such as open houses, you scale up on that, right? Just do more of them. If you have a team, teach your team how to do open houses. Brent Goeb's a prime example, as we all know. He really didn't do a whole lot of online lead generation. What he did is basically his mega open house, and he just taught his agents how to consistently do that open house technique, and it works, right? So there's different ways to scale a business. Again, I would say find what's working for you. Everybody has their own little niche, and just grow with that. And just get really good at that, and just don't chase the shiny objects. We all get, as realtors, we're the easiest people to sell things to, right? Because our minds are always like little squirrels chasing this shiny object. Stick with what works. Be consistent. Do the work. Be consistent. And find what works, do the work, and be consistent. I mean, it's just the same message every time, over and over. There's no secret sauce to being successful in this business or any other business. It's being consistent and doing the things that work over and over and over, and keep improving on that.
Right. Yeah, I always tell you, marketing equals consistency equals sales.
That's it.
Right. It's not that difficult. And open houses. I mean, that's how I made my money. I sold 36 homes my first year, 28 from open houses. Do them correctly, they're a gold mine. And I do want to touch on one thing you said. Always be leery of the people who want to give you the most advice, because it's usually the people that sell the least amount of homes. Right?
Exactly.
Everybody on here is, well, with the exception of me, is a rock star. I'm just cute and funny, and but everybody on here has sold a ton of homes. I mean, I make jokes, but I've sold 1,300 plus homes, and yeah. Anyways, so and just Pete, you're gonna have to take over in a minute because I have to leave actually shortly because I have a meeting outside the office, but I want to make sure we get rolling. Let's go over to Matt.
Cool. Okay. Well, I totally agree with Dennis that it is all about consistency, and that is the way to have a scalable business. And my thing that I always hit on is that you've got to put your marketing on autopilot, because what happens is you do some marketing, you get some listings or buyers or whatever, and you're busy. It's very time consuming, and you're running around selling real estate, which takes a lot of your time. And then you don't have time to be thinking about what's the next marketing piece I'm going to send out, or, I've got to proof that mailer or whatever it is you're doing, whatever kind of marketing you're doing. And then so it stops for a month or two. And guess what? You stop getting leads, and you stop getting business, and you get slow, and then you're chasing your tail again. So, what I always do is at the beginning of like over the Christmas holidays or even before Christmas, I decide what I'm going to do for the coming year, and I map it all out, and I make sure that I've got the budget to do it consistently throughout the year, and I have it set up so that it goes on without me, so that I don't really have to do too much to do it. Because, again, the best real estate agents, the most successful real estate agents are the best marketers. And I know this isn't a call specifically about marketing, but if you want to have a scalable business, you need to have a consistent flow of leads coming into your business. I mean, we're in the lead generation business. So, I'm of course a huge believer in direct mail, but there's lots of different ways you can market yourself. And, I still know a guy in our market here in San Diego that has literally gone out and knocked on doors 5 days a week for the last probably 30 years. And he's been doing it, for 30 years. He was doing it when I got into the business 26 years ago, and he still goes out there, I think 4 or 5 days a week and knocks on doors, and the guy sells a ton of homes. So, everything works and nothing doesn't, but at the end of the day, you've got to figure out a way to generate a consistent flow of leads. And personally, I'm also a believer that to really have a scalable business, you've got to focus on listings more than buyers, because in no matter whether the market's a buyer's market or a seller's market, the agents that have the listings control the market. Even when our market was in a huge decline between 2007 and 2011 here in San Diego, everything was short sales, everything was foreclosures. But guess what? It was the agents that had the listings that still controlled the market. And just because it was a buyer's market, it wasn't the buyers that were controlling the market. It's always the listing agent. So I'm a believer that if you want to have a scalable business, you've got to go after listings. And I just did that because when I got into business, somebody told me, you got to be a listing agent, buyers are liars, listers last, etc. And I much prefer working with sellers anyway. But, it's a myth that you have to be an experienced agent to be a listing agent. I started out as a listing agent when I was a brand new agent before I'd ever owned a house. I just went after listings. I talked with an agent the other day who was the buyer's agent on one of my listings, who's a relatively new agent. And he made the decision right out of the gates as a brand new agent that he wanted to work the luxury market. And all the agents in his office told him, "Oh, you can't work luxury listings. You got to start out on the lower price stuff and you work your way up." And he said, "No, I'm just going to go after the luxury market." And guess what? He does really well in the luxury market. So, but at the end of the day, you've really, I think, to have a scalable business. I've known a few agents that were really focused on buyers that had a scalable business, but the majority that I know of that have a scalable business are listing agents. And you can we all copy from the best. We all look at what other people doing successfully and copy it and mimic it. And so you can totally do that, but I think you got to have a consistent flow of leads. You got to figure out what your budget is, that you can do it consistently, because like you said, you've got to be consistent, number one. And then number two, I think you've got to go after listings, because everything flows from listings. Buyers flow from listings, other listings beget listings. But I think to have a scalable business, you've got to be a strong listing agent.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm sure everybody else will agree.
Yeah, I actually kind of don't, but and I'll tell you why. And I'm actually going to take my 2 minutes here, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys, because I have a meeting that I got to drive to about 40 minutes away. So I don't disagree with you, but based on my many years of just business, and I'll tell you the quick story behind it. When in 2006 the market started crashing here. That's when the market started going down. And so I know everybody else was 2008, but we actually were the first county in the country to start going down. And so anyway, we had 100 listings as my brokerage, and not one had sold for like 4 or 5 months. And every person was calling me and yelling at me, right? Like because the agent stopped answering the phone call after getting yelled at 3 or 4 times, because that's what happens. So they call the broker. So they call me yelling at me, and then I made a decision to stop taking listings. So we didn't take listings for 4 years, and we decided to become a buyer brokerage. And we were the only brokerage in the county that grew 20% a year every year during the crash. So I don't disagree with you, because now understanding it more, I would do a good mix of both. I'd still like to have the inventory if they're priced correctly, because what
Yeah,
happens if
well, everything's got to be priced correctly, right?
right, if you're not priced correctly, then you're sitting on inventory for 6 months and getting yelled at. The only thing I'm going to talk about real quick is, I'm sure I've talked about this in the past, but to have a consistent business, you have to build your foundation. And the foundation, who is my customer and where are they? I know I've always talked many times that everybody has enough business sitting in their phone if they really wanted to build a business. The challenge we have in our business is most people don't run businesses. They have our own crappy jobs. So what happens when the market shifts a little bit, like it has, they're out of business. I'm seeing people right now that sold 30, 40 homes a year selling 6, because they never built a business during the time that the market was going up. So how do you do that? I'm a database guy. Like, I do everything based on databases. And your only job should be working your database. We all know, and I've said this a million times on here, the only real reason why someone's going to be using you is because you happen to be in front of them when they're thinking about buying or selling. And I can go through Matt with his postcard marketing, I can go through Ross with his Zillow Flex. Those are moments where you're in front of those people when they're thinking about buying or selling, right? And that's the most important gig. All the other stuff is good, which comes down to what Dennis and Matt said. It's marketing. If you're going to market, you've got to be consistent. And I've found, and other people can disagree with me because we're all going to have different opinions on this. That's what makes such a great panel. I found twice a month marketing to your database, whether it be through postcards or email or whatever, is the right number to be in front of them all the time. And that gives you your best return on your best open rates, your best return. So, but you got to start thinking of building a solid database, because once you build that solid database, this is not a hard business. And I'll give you an example of that. One more example before I get up. I only sold full time for 5 years, no, 4.5 years, and I only had 2 months that entire time. And I'm talking about from the minute I was brand new. I sold my first house 5 days in the business, and I started in September. In January, I had 9 closings. I only had 2 months that I had 0 closings. It was April and May of 2004, but in June I had 13 closings. So my point is that the reason why I didn't have this light that almost every realtor has, right, is because I consistently marketed to my database, and I just had a steady 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at the end, 7, 8 sales a month. And so if you're doing things consistently, it's really it's a piece of cake. This is such an easy business, guys. Right? Just make stupid jokes, wear a bald hat like I do, and life is good. So I got to take off, Pete. All yours, take it over, buddy, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay.
I'm running with it. Okay, listen.
You're running with it.
The bald god is given over the reins. I like that.
The reins.
Okay.
Do you know what our subject is, Pete?
I don't, because I was on a call with a working out a request for repairs. So I apologize.
So we're how to build a sustainable and scalable business.
Cool. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Let's go to Cam. Has Cam already talked or not?
Because right now just Dennis and Matt.
I'll jump on.
Listen, Cam's got a little color going, right? So
he's been playing that golf.
Tan Cam, I like it. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So
yeah, scaling business. Well, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to kind of piggytail off what Dennis said and what Matt said and what Mitch said there. I think the key to scaling is you need to have a very, very, very good firm grasp on your numbers. And that's your expenses, that's your inputting leads. You need to have a solid understanding on your business expenses, your write-offs expenses. This is part of that running the business that Mitch was just talking about. I'm going to show this because I brought this up a bunch. This is the workbook that we built. There's a reason we built this, you guys. Look, inside here, marketing tracker. Okay, we have marketing trackers, so you can easily identify and outline all of the marketing that you're doing. Is it working? You can see the return that you're seeing from it. You can see who you're sending it out to. Write this stuff down. You don't need this this is just a piece of paper. You can write it down on a notepad, but you need to get out there. You need to put it down on paper so you can see what you're actively doing. You can't add stuff to your business if you don't know what you're doing. And the second step of that is you can't add stuff if you don't know how much you currently have to spend. And like Matt said, you need to set up a budget at the start of the year that's going to allow you to be consistent throughout that entire year. And it needs to start from day 0. Now, the fun part or the great part, right, is that your year of marketing can start today. It doesn't have to start on January 1st or June 1st. It can start today and you can run it for 1 year. You just need to know that you have the finances and the funds available to consistently do the marketing the way it should be. And that's why in our book, again, we got a whole business expense tracker, right? So these are going to show you all your expenses. So you should know exactly every month how much money is going out. You should have a pretty good estimate on the amount coming in based on how much pendings you have. And that way you can start adding different, lead sources. And that's really the key to scaling, is using these different lead sources. I'm going to go through a couple of them because I made a list here on my notes. But having the lead sources available, when you know what you're doing, you know what you're spending, you know what you can add, you can then make a plan. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. You need to make a plan to run a business, to grow the business, to scale the business, if that's what you're trying to do. And once you have it all written down and you have it outlined on what you're spending, where you're spending it, where you're gaining, how it's working, then you can start adding more, right? And that's really the key to scaling, is being able to add systems either that you want to try, or that if you listen to us and you come to these calls enough, you know what's working. I mean, we tell you, we just share it with you. So you can add stuff like the mega open houses, the automatic neighborhood farming. I'm big, obviously, on the for sale by owner and expired prospecting down here in our area. Expireds are going crazy. I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds a day. So that's a great avenue, right? What I always like to tell folks when you're trying to scale, you're trying to kind of grab the bigger nugget, or you're trying to reach up on the ladder, is do what everyone else isn't doing, right? So that sounds obvious, but if you're not trying new things, you're never going to be able to find what works before everybody else finds them. And all lead systems and all lead sources, you guys, they ebbs and flows. They're a market. And as soon as it starts working and there's someone like me that's going to go share it with all of you, and then it starts working for all of you, it sooner or later typically will kind of burn out, and that lead source slows down. And that's why I think you really need to be consistently adding new sources, trying new things, exploring what's working. And that way, when something's hot, like for example, a few years ago, Google local service ads, whoo! I made $200,000 just on Google local service ads that 1 year. Now they're absolutely useless. $55, $75 a lead. They're not good. They don't work like they used to, but you got to constantly be adding those. So when you have stuff tracked, you're knowing what you're doing, you're knowing what's working, you can constantly be adding, but also the more important part there is finding what doesn't work and getting rid of it. That is the key to scaling, you guys. Find stuff, try stuff, and then get rid of it as fast as possible when it's not working, so that you can spend that money elsewhere, all right? I have a list here. Community events. I know not many people are sponsoring community events. Down here in South Florida, we have so many gorgeous communities. I mean, it's all about the lifestyle of living in these massive 3,000, 5,000, 8,000 home gated communities. Sponsor some events, get to be the guy. Heck, if it was me, and I missed out on this opportunity, but you can sponsor the entire arena or the entire field for a lot of these communities, and you'll have your name and your business up there for the eternity of that community. You guys, you got to start thinking outside the box. And when you start doing that, you're going to see the results, and you can constantly be trying new things, adding new things, becoming a better agent, right? Obviously, social media is huge. We're not going to talk about that a lot, but that is a whole system that you can dig into and use the lead sources. Posted a video yesterday. It got 144,000 views. Got about 14 leads in 1 day, completely free. The other list for agents, referrals and relationship, depending on what brokerage you're at, you need to get inside the groups and the people and really dig into your brokerage, because if they're not helping you, go look for someone else. There's so many brokerages. I know of ours at least. Every year, if you work the community, you work the networks, you can get 5, 7, 10 deals a year easily just from the referrals. And now how do you scale that? Well, the more people you talk to, the more dug in you are with that community, the more and more that you're going to get. So that's, how do you scale using those things? And then the biggest one, and this is truly, in my opinion, the way to scale a business as a solo agent or a small agent, is branding. So when you do get those listings, hey, Karina, do you mind muting for me?
Oh, sorry.
when you do get those listings and you have that ability to do the community events, or you have that ability to market to these neighborhoods, you need to have your marketing, your branding, your colors, your schemes. You need that on point so you can become that go-to agent. I have a handful of agents that simply work 1 or 2 communities. That's all they do. They do 20 deals a year. They have a very, very successful business and they're very happy with it. And the great part is you can easily scale that. Just pick another community. Do the same things that you did in the last community. Grow and grow and grow with scaling. And when you have all your branding, you have everything that's similar or same, people will see that sign in the yard and they go, oh my God, this guy's everywhere. No, it's just that we post, 40 open house signs for every open house. So it looks like we're everywhere and you remember it. It's something to be rememberable by. So those are my big things with the scaling is you need to have systems, but you need to be constantly adding systems into your repertoire. See if they work. See if they work for you. See if you like doing them. You're gonna have to do these systems for the rest of your life, you guys. This is our jobs. This is our careers. We're gonna be doing the same things forever. Make sure you enjoy doing them. Make sure you like doing them, and then add more and more. Remove the ones that don't work, and you will find that you run into just gold mines. You'll hit a lead source or a system or a plan that you try, and like I said, the Google local service ads thing, they cashed out. We spent probably 10 grand on it, made up 200,000 in commissions. But it doesn't work anymore. So constantly be trying things. Always have your business fundamentals, right? And we've talked about that throughout a lot of these calls where you need to be doing the same things, making your calls, community outreach, your sphere of influence, doing your open houses, getting in front of people. On top of that though, after you've done that, now it's time to add a little bit more and a little bit more. So that's what I think on scaling. It's really all based on, trying stuff. Be creative. Think outside the box. When everyone else is looking left, go right. If it doesn't work, you can always go back left, right? I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of agents or newer entrepreneurs maybe fail at is they're like, well, I want to try this. And they go down this path that's not working too long, okay? If it's not working, it's not going to be working because no one's calling. You're not getting any business from it. Give it a few months. You can't do that 30-day marketing thing. Give it a few months, 30, 60, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. But then if it's not working, cut it out, try something new so you can always be being as efficient as you can with your ad spend, which obviously then will change to profitability because you're not wasting money. But first things first, you guys, you have to have stuff written down. You need to know your numbers. You need to know your business. You can do it on a white sheet of paper. You can do it in our journal. There's lots of other journals out there you can use. But once you know your stuff and you know your business, then you can actually start growing it.
And that's what I got for you. Look at that. I would look at that every month. You need to know your P&L. You need to know what your ad spend is or where you're spending money each month to compare it to what you're doing that month, right? That's going to keep you on track, help you navigate this market. Linda asked you, Cam, what was the topic of your video yesterday?
The topic, let me see the question. I'm sorry, real quick. Linda, Cam, what was the topic of your video yesterday? I'm not sure which video she's talking about. We do a lot of videos. What was the topic of the video yesterday? I'm not sure what she was breaking down there. Linda, can you ask that question?
You got 140.
Great question. That was a home tour. That was a home tour we did down in one of the listings we took. It was one of our listings. Pete, to jump off their point, you say look at it every month. Our book, we have it set up so every week it breaks down. So that's your finalizing for your week, right? Is you put everything in there, you see how everything worked. How many did you touch? How many calls did you make? How many emails did you make? How many conversions did you make? So Linda, yes, to do the videos, we do home tours. I've found that people love looking at homes. So that's what we do.
And those are on
TikTok, looking at home tours.
Cameron?
Say that one more time, sorry.
Cameron, those are on TikTok primarily that you post them?
Yeah, so TikTok, you guys, and I know TikTok's kind of silly, but the algorithm works for us. It's not like Meta or the other social media platforms that really require you, in my opinion, to be spending money on the plus, be a check mark member, all of that stuff. TikTok, any of you guys, if you want to post a video on today and you're consistent for a week, I haven't posted in like 6 months because I got behind on it. Posted for consistently 6 days or so, and I got the first video that blew up. So TikTok's fantastic that way, but I post on all of them. With that 100,000 views, that's all of them combined. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you get the most return? Do you get the most return, Cameron? Do you think on your TikTok stuff that you do?
Yeah, so I have only sold homes directly. Like people actually call me physically from TikTok. I have sent out, obviously I post on all the platforms. But TikTok is the only one that I know that if I post every single day, I will get leads from it every single day, and I will get out to, most of my videos get like 3 to 20,000 views. And then every once in a while you'll get one that goes to 200, and then every once in a while you'll get one that goes to 2 million, and the leads just flow in. I mean, they honestly, they're overwhelming. And TikTok does that for us because they're not, in my opinion, I don't know any more than you guys do, but from my experience, they're not trying to get you to promote that one little video, and they don't want to try to get you for $25 and $25. They want mass amounts of quality content that then they can get the viewers and all the people, right? The audience that gets addicted to TikTok, which is what they've done. They want really quality stuff that they're posting and getting that out to more people. So I just think the mindset, or kind of how the TikTok algorithm works is different than Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that, which is more based on kind of the more corporate consumerism, corporate America, versus TikTok. The idea was, well, we just want to get stuff viral because then the creators come back and then the people come back and everyone is just using this app and they're addicted to it. That's how they make their money. So TikTok, you guys, you have to be doing TikTok. The algorithm it's crazy.
I like this. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to make this a little more interactive today. Dwayne Whitaker asked everyone, and anyone can take this, should you hire someone to do your marketing and social media to be consistent? And what would that cost? So whoever wants to take that.
I can take it if you want. I think I'd probably be one of the, I've tested it. So ISAs, BAs, assistants, if you can get into local people, meaning go to your college, heck, go to your high school, find real people that actually use the apps and they understand what people watch, I think it can be profitable. You also aren't going to be spending as much money as if you were to go onto Google and look up, social media real estate management company. They are going to charge you a fortune. And the truth is the results are not going to be as exciting as you're hoping. That's the truth. They don't care. They don't care if you get a lot of views. They don't care if you don't get any views. Versus when you do it, or when you're kind of the one managing it, you're going to be more involved with it. So you're going to have more skin in the game. So to answer the question, do I think it's smart to have someone working with you? Absolutely. But I think it's smart to have someone that's definitely on the more millennial or even Gen Z or younger side. Find them at a local high school or somewhere that, they're trying to get career life experiences. They're looking for internships. Go to a college, do that. Media arts are huge. And that would be super easy for any college student once you explain to them what you're trying to emulate or duplicate, replicate, that kind of thing. And it's going to save you a lot of money. With that said, it's going to be hard to ask a kid or a college student that you want this video made, right? If you don't know how to make the video yourself, right? And we have obviously our free trainings that show you how to do that, or you can give it to your assistants, but you have to have like a little bit of an idea on what you want them to do, right? That's part of that, being a little creative, trying new things. Really, guys, just try what works. Okay, go on the social medias if you want to do social media. Didn't mean to get into this real depth, but if you want to do what works, go on your social media For You page. That's like the explore page where it shows all those random stuff. Find the ones that got 2 million views. Find the ones that's got 300,000 views today. Literally just duplicate it. Just copy it. Just copy it. Try it. And you're not going to copy it. You're going to make it in your own way. You're going to have your own face and your sound, and it's going to be you. But at least you're starting off with something that works versus trying to literally recreate the wheel, which it's that can be challenging. So I'm going to post the free group that we have. We did this at the event, and that has our social media course on it. And you guys can watch it. It's totally free. So that's that link there.
Cool. Awesome.
That's awesome, Cam. I would just caution, if you're going to hire a kid to do your social media, make sure you're writing the copy for it. Just because it can come off as, very 16-year-old-ish, and that's not your home buyer market. So just be careful on probably not content, because you're going to be creating it. If you're having somebody edit and post, just make sure you're doing the copy. Or you can teach them how to use freeadcopy.com, and they can fill out prompts, and that will bring out a good copy for you. So just make sure what you're pushing out isn't for the, sub 20-year-old audience. And I know Cam does that, but just don't give someone that, don't give my daughter the reins to your social media account is my caution. So there you go.
Bro, you're so lit. You're so fire, bro. Jeez, come on.
The vibes, man. So I will say, Ross, you're totally right, man. You don't want to get a kid that's gonna just be a kid. With that said, though, Find the kid that wants, you know, man, just like the guys that we bring on, new agents. You find a guy that comes in and he's dressed like you and he's like ready to show up to work and he shows up with his little briefcase with nothing in it. And you're like, you got the right, you know the right guy when you find him, versus the kid that shows up with a beanie hat on backwards with a little Pikachu, that might not be the perfect one. But great points there. And I'm glad you said that because I didn't even think of that.
Wow. Hey,
Yeah,
another
rock, dude.
question from Rhonda Harris. I'm a new agent focusing on expired listings. You mail them information, door knock, or skip trace to get their phone number and call them. Whoever wants to take that, who's doing expired listings? Kim, still on the clock. Go ahead.
Okay, so the
Camo.
question was expired listings, right? One more time.
It's right there. I'm a new agent focusing on expired listings. Do you mail them information? Do you door knock, or do you skip trace to get their phone number and call them? What do you do?
Great question. Yep. So we are doing a lot of expireds, like I said just a minute ago, and I actually have a new agent not a new agent. They just haven't been working in real estate the past 10 years. So in my opinion, they're a brand new agent. They're starting fresh like a little baby bird, right? We put them in our system. So we personally use Espresso Agent. It's a great platform. A lot of agents or a lot of coaches across the country recommend Espresso. It is a scraper though. So it's going to give you all of their email addresses, their phone numbers, their niece's phone numbers, their uncle's phone, everybody's phone number. And then it's up to you to reach out to them, call them, do your email drips, all of that. It has a complete system built in. With that said, depending on how motivated you are, right? So if you want to go get a listing today, do your calls, try to get a hold of as many as you can. You'll find that after about 30 minutes, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, most of the people stop picking up. Once that time hits, pick out the 5 or 6 that you really, really would like to be a listing agent for, to take a listing of, and go out and door knock them. You have nothing else to do. You're a new agent. Let's be hyper aggressive. Door knock them. Make sure you have something to leave them that explains that either you're great, your team is great, you've been doing a lot of business, you have a lot of people looking in the area, and you'd love to see their home and see if it fits for them. So you have to have something to drop off. But I'm all for doing the expired calls, doing the expired emails, getting out there and door knocking. Pound the pavement, man. If you're a new agent right now, this market, it's not tough. It's a great market, but you have to be the one that makes it a great market. With the person I was just talking about that hasn't done real estate in the last 10 years, they just started back up in the last 3 weeks. They've gotten 4 listings. They have 1 pending, and every day they're getting listing appointments. So I know it works. I mean, it works. You just got to do it every day. And that person right now, I'm gonna tell you guys, they're making 105 phone calls a day. They're talking to about 20 people a day. They're spending 8 hours a day calling. Wow, brutal. Well, they already made 20 grand in the first 14 days because they got a quick close. You want it, you got it. But yeah, so I recommend Espresso. I'll post the link so everyone can check it out because it's a great program.
Awesome. Okay.
And I would add to that, Pete, that a lot of people do not pick up their phone, but everybody reads their texts, and most people have cell phones. So texting is a great way to reach out to anybody, including expireds and cancels and for sale by owners, because everybody reads those text messages. So I think that's a really effective way to go after expireds. Hey, Cameron, it's kind of off topic, but I'm just curious. Mitch made a comment a minute ago where he said that the market in Florida started declining before the market in other parts of the country did back in 2006, 2007. How much in your market are prices down from the peak right now? And you're in Naples.
I'm in Naples.
Yeah.
I'm in Lee County, Collier County. So all of the Southwest, the very, very bottom of Florida here, pretty much directly across from Miami. So yeah, give me just 2 seconds. I'll give you an actual solid number because that's the best way to do it. I would say just based on I know this, but I'm trying to give you the exact number. New construction, all construction here. At least we're down at least 25 to 35% from our peaks of November of 23, which is when we started declining. Our luxury homes, though, are down a lot more. So you got to remember, our average price point here is around $650. If you get further south, it jumps up to like $850, $900. If you get a little further north, it goes all the way down to like $350. So the lower price homes, obviously, percentages affect them a lot less. But I would say that just right across the board, you're seeing every home on the market, at least from when it was originally listed, 100,000 to 150,000 less than we seen it last year. We have We have a home. Okay, so here's a great example. I sold a home here a little over 18 months ago for this was a little cheapy home, but great home, great listing. It was a referral. We sold it for $290, and it needed to be fully renovated. It needed floors, walls, everything. I just listed the neighbor's home at $224, and it's been fully done. So, you know, at that $300,000 price range, the one that needed to be fully renovated, and the one we sold before had 6 offers. We went over, you know, it was the normal market, great market. Now we have one that's priced super aggressively, and it's getting action. We had a great open house the other day, but it's you know, it's moving slowly. So I would say 30%.
How many of
right
those
off the
were
top.
short-term rentals, Cam?
Oh, huge. So that's why this price, that's a great question. Gosh, you guys are on it, man. So the reason that our market went up so fast and went down so fast, obviously, is because during the boom and during COVID, we were the last affordable beach area where you could buy $400,000 fully Airbnb homes that were 15, 25, 35 minutes, depending on which beach you went. And you were able to rent them out for $400, $500 a night. I kid you not, people that bought homes in 2018, 2019, paid them off in 2023 because they were able to Airbnb through COVID, and they made so much money. The problem is that obviously once people got word of that, like all things, like I was talking about those leads earlier, you guys, they fizzle out, right? They just stop working, and they just got oversaturated. So now we have a lot of owners down here that hold 6, 7, 9 homes that, you know, they're gonna start feeling the pain. They're gonna have the fire put on their tushes, and you know that's gonna be another challenge that we're gonna see. But yes, so
In
a lot
our
of them were
Airbnb
Airbnbs.
markets and in Palm Springs, the value is all propped up on your return on investment, not on the real estate. And they're back down to 2019 prices. You guys have to realize when you're representing your clients, you have to understand what type of product you're selling them. Are you selling them a business, or are you selling them a house? And rules can change. Temperatures in the economy can change. And if you're going to be basing a decision on return on an investment, especially in the short-term space, most of those people are feeling pain because they went the affordable route instead of the real estate route. And that was a flash in the pan. So that's why Cam's market's doing that. That's why some of North Palm Springs is doing that. But if you're looking at, say, San Diego, if you're looking at Nashville, if you're looking at Park City, I don't know, I guess Philadelphia, Craig. I like you. I'm going to add you in this conversation. You're buying real estate. You're not buying dollars that tourists are throwing at you, or people that were coming from different markets like LA that was really locked down and they're trying to find a little bit of freedom. And that's why you're not going to experience that in most markets. That's why it's in my opinion, a totally different function from what Mitch was talking about from 2008. It has nothing to do with the economy, it has everything to do with the economy, excuse me, but it's the state of the consumer, not a rate problem or a loan problem. It's not a real estate function, it's an economy function. So those are my 2 cents on those markets.
To add on one more part to that, Ross, because you were spot on there, buddy, and this is great info for everyone on this call. This is what they should be here for. To add on to that, the biggest thing that we had that came in during 21 to 23 was institutionalized investors. I personally know Amherst down here has over 1,000 homes. I know that there's a bunch of hedge funds down here that bought thousands of homes. I personally sold a group of 400 homes that one of my investors had been stockpiling to Amherst. Like, just poof, here you go, all 400, and they took them. No inspections, nothing. I'm excited to see how that plays out because these guys have billions. They got unlimited money, so they can just hold them and let them float. Will that mean that our market will continue to shift down? What are they going to do with these thousands of homes? But that is the one part of the kind of the cog that's new this time, that's new this time around. And I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
You're going to see long-term rental rates get set at a lower rate.
I hope so. We need it.
Yeah.
That's right.
I have a quick question since we're kind of round robbing right now. I sell a lot. First of all, I sell pretty significant amount of short-term rentals just along our from Pacific Beach to Oceanside. And it's unique in that you're not only buying it based off of the return on investment, your values are there, whether it's an Airbnb, that's just kind of an extra blessing. Yeah, you can Airbnb this and get income out of it, but the values are still there in the real estate. So along this California coast, we're not seeing that sinkage. The rents could go down a little, but it's still base value off of off of the real estate that is, oceanfront, and beautiful and going to be desirable. So we're not seeing that dip. But Cam, I wanted to go back to expireds. It's your show today. And, expires over the last 5 years they were like not even a thing, right? Everything was going really hard to even market to expireds in certain areas during the whole COVID thing. Now they're obviously really going to be a big thing. So for everyone on this call, that is something that I would start farming again. I've never really done it. But I wanted to ask you, for everybody on this call, do you also use MLS? Because you can go into MLS Daily, see which one's expired. And I thought about it at one point to really market to expireds. And what we had designed was literally doing a door drop in like a very special envelope, like a postal envelope, and then offering a discount. We know you're interested in signs, but the question is, do you have your people work fresh expireds day one and maybe drive out to those properties? Because it really is a brilliant plan. Don't get them a package they're going to open if they don't get the person there live in person. How would you speak to that in this market using MLS?
Yeah, that's great. Great question. And I will say, yes, we do have some agents that don't want to pay the $279 a month for the scraping espresso agent, right? They want to do it by hand. It usually takes about a week for them to decide for $270, this is well worth it, because it takes about, in my experience, about 2 hours to take the expired leads, find out who the owners is through tax data, bring them over to like a forewarn program or some kind of, background info program, search them there, get their phone number, bring it back over. It just takes time, right? And when you only have to spend $200 a month or 200 and change a month, the amount of time it saves you is just huge. You can do it that way. There's no fault in doing it that way. If you're hungry, you're ready to go at it, you don't have the cash, because I know a lot of agents are that way. I feel you, I've been there. You can scrape them manually and do it one by one. And then what you'll find, or at least what I find, is there's too many expireds, at least in our current market right now. We're getting 150, 250 a day. Like, it's crazy. It's great. Back to how it should be, like back to normal markets. So, I love it because that's what I grew up on and I know it and it's comfortable to me, versus the COVID thing was like uncomfortable. We did it. We made it through. We had a great success, but it wasn't what you knew or what you grew up on. To answer your second question about going out there in person, trying to drop something off. If you don't have enough people to call right now down here in our area in Southwest Florida, we have, unlimited. You can call. Plus, if you run out of new expireds on this day, you can call back the 3-month-old, 6-month-old, old expireds. I think our expired pool right now is around 6,000 expireds. So we have unlimited people to call. Now, if you're in a market, I know a lot of you guys are in California, it's still rocking, you have higher incomes, you're better insulated, right? That's the amazing thing about California, is that incomes are higher, prices are higher, prices haven't come down or retracted very much. I don't know. I don't know the answer, or I don't know how it's going to work in different markets versus our market with prices retracting and kind of moving forward. What I can say though, and then this is just from 2008, right? I got my license in 2008 on February 1st, 2008. So when I seen the market in Florida crash, when my parents were the realtors, they did the expired thing. That's where I learned and cut my teeth on, obviously. When I saw that, the whole country was still rocking and rolling. Like everything was going fine. Everything was good. And then it was like, you guys just delayed here 9 months, and then it all happened to everyone. So I would just be prepared that if expireds start popping up in your market, you have the system to call them. And if there isn't a lot of them, yeah, absolutely, go out there, door knock them. You're the only agent that's going to do that. You just went from a 10,000 agent pool, and if you're calling them, now you're a 100 agent pool. If you go out and door knock, you're a 1 agent pool. That is the secret. When everyone looks left, go do what's right.
Yeah, I think
that's kind of what I was. Oh, go ahead.
You go, David. You're welcome to the show. You go.
Okay. Well, I built my business on expireds and FSBOs 25 years ago for sure. One of the things that I did, and you can still do it, you go to FedEx, you get a whole bunch of envelopes, you get a whole bunch of the sheets that you put in them. And what I would do is I would write, and I would have it pre-printed with my name, right? And then what I would do is I didn't spend the money to FedEx it. I actually delivered them. In fact, for a while there, I had somebody deliver them. But To get back to Rhonda Harris, your question. So you've got, first of all, you got to have a great listing presentation, right? And then you put together, well, you do the one timing where you put together a great letter that basically says what Matt does. I'm not bragging. I'm applying for a job, right? And then you put it in this envelope and you write their name and address on it. And then you actually go and hand deliver it. And the thing is nobody, I mean, there are services now, but back then, man, people back then, they're like, man, it expired last night. This afternoon, I got this thing on my doorstep. But don't do it. The thing is do your calls, do all your other things, but start knocking on doors between 4 and 6 when people start getting home, and then hand them. You know what? I was gonna FedEx this, but when I saw your house, it was, man, I can't believe your house didn't sell. I decided to hand deliver it, and you give it to them. The other thing is so many people are doing expireds and they're doing FSBOs. There is an unbelievable opportunity out there that the vast majority of agents don't know, and it's called FRBOs. What does that stand for? For rent by owners, right? So you call the people, you can go to Zillow and you can go to see and pull up all of the for rents in your marketplace. And look at the ones that have been on the market 1 or 2 or 3 months and they're not rented, and you call them up. You say, "Hey, Cameron, I just noticed, that house you have that you're renting 1-2, is that still available?" And you say, "I'm curious, is this just for rent, or would you consider selling it if you got the price that you would want?" And some of these people are beat down and they'll say yes. And if they do, you go through the whole product or the whole process.
I think that is brilliant, and I'll tell you why. Yesterday afternoon, got a call from a past client, Bridge. I have been trying to list this beautiful remodeled condo in San Diego, and he's like, "I'm getting people that want it for a month. I can't even I can't even rent it. Let's sell it." I signed a listing agreement yesterday. I will have it on the market today. So what you're speaking to, the rental market has softened. That is a great platform to go after current sellers that their property's been vacant for 2 or 3 months. And be curious. Just be curious. Call on the listing, and then curious. Would you be interested? Are you open to selling, or would you like a CMA? And then on I was speaking to this Dave before you popped on, just because somebody else taught me this, with the envelopes, the Federal Express or Priority Mail from the post office, even if you leave it, that's going to get 100% open rate. There's nothing that you're going to leave on a doorstep for a consumer and a priority envelope that is not going to get open and then have your data in there. But I think the for rent by owner on Zillow is brilliant, because I got that specific. You can look at his listing on Zillow, and he just called me and saying, "I'm sick of trying to rent it. Let's sell it."
Love that.
Aren't you gonna hop on?
Yeah, I've been sitting back here and my ROG in the new world of technology just jumped out. And I said, you know what? I'm hearing all these things. And I actually went to my chat GPT. And I said, Frankie, he's named it, I named him. I said, Frankie, tell me the top 5 things to do if I wanted to scale my business in a very short time with the most profit and the quickest turn. It gave me 5 things to do and 3 things underneath. Then it came up with double down on inventory listings. We've already talked about that. It talked about build and repeat a referral machine. We've talked about that. Systematize everything. Attraction agents for rev share, and then own your digital presence. Cam was talking about this. everybody, I'm going to challenge you when you get off this call, go to your Chat GPT. I was just at the Alpha meeting in Dallas this past week. And the number one thing in 30 minutes, in 3 hours we spent was masterminding on how to use your AI better. That's a perfect example. It knows you. Ask it, how can you do it? And then ask it to dive deeper and then dive deeper. And then do the work. It's just do it. Do the do. Stop figuring out what everybody else is. Who is your exact avatar? I've asked my client, who is my avatar? We're working towards it. You guys were talking about expireds here. Do you know that in less than 15 minutes, you could take an address, put it in your Chat GPT, say to it, do me a favor, who is the buyer for this house? This is the address. This is the town. This is everything in it. This is the layout of it. Write me a description of who that buyer is. Bang. It'll kick it out in 5 minutes. Then ask it, if I was to market to this buyer, how am I going to find this buyer? Boom, it blows it out. Would you be able to write me a whole brochure that's specific to this buyer with this address, with all the details of the neighborhood that I could create a website off of? Boom, it'll kick it out. Go to Lovable, put it in, it'll create a website for you for that house. And I'm sitting here listening to the expireds on what I've learned. Take that and then deliver it to a house. Say, by the way, this is the buyer. This is who it is. This is why you want to work with me. Has anybody else showed up with this? And you can do it in less than 30 minutes using your Chat GPT. And it's written in your words, your verbiage. And say, write it as I think. Write it as I am, not as somebody who's fake. All right. So just letting you know what I observed, what I physically did here while we've been on the phone, what I tested and what I did. So just copy what I just said. All right. Sorry, I went on a tangent there, but I was learning from you guys while I was sitting here and I inputted it while we did it.
That's domination. Let me just jump on real quick, because everything you guys are saying is a system. It's an activity in real estate to make money. What if I told you you could 10x your business today with spending very little to none of your own money? Would you do that? And I think 100% of people would say yes. Yeah, right? So how do you do that? First, you need to find your system. And I'm going back to scalable business. Sorry, I was prepared for today's topic. But you talk about, so you find out how to systematize what you want to do, right? So for me, I like to purchase or give leads out to a team, right? That was my goal. I started to do that. But let's just say you're an individual agent and you want more leads to sell more houses, okay? So who do you need to do that? One, you probably need an ISA, okay? What's an ISA? It's an inside sales agent. Read the book, figure out how to systematize that, find out your scripts, what leads you're getting, if it's for sale by owner, if it's expired, if you're purchasing realtor.com leads, whatever it is, get somebody ready to call inbound leads that you can't do because you are the visionary and the lead of your business, okay? You need an ISA. Two, you probably need an operations manager. You need somebody who can run the systems while you're out being the face of your business. And you're like, I can't afford to have 2 employees. Build them in on a split structure. Find somebody that believes in what you're doing, that's doing the business with you, and you're all going to grow together. You all are delegated tasks, and then when you do deals together, you all win together. You, as the person making the initial investment, are going to take the most, and as people are doing task work, they get less. However, you can provide probably a high 5 to low 6-figure income for them. So systematize, draw your roadmap, lay out who's doing what, and then start to do that. If you want to buy leads, how do I do that, Ross, without spending any money? I have no money. I haven't done a sale yet. Cool. If you own a house, you can get what's called a home equity line of credit. That is not any money that's coming out of your bank account. You can do a draw. You can even map it out so that you're paying the interest that you need on that from your draw. None of that money is coming out of your savings account. US Bank is doing personal loans. You can get them up to $20,000 based on credit. You could do a $4,000 to $5,000 ad spend and have 5 months worth of budget for spending on your leads. These are all things that our money is not coming out of your pocket. If you plan, if you build, you can utilize these things. So that's the front end, right? So you're getting leads, you have your systems, you're generating. If you're to convert $1 million deal, and let's just call it 700 because that's my average sales price for my team. That's $21,000. It covers the spend of your lead by 4x. And if you cut people in and you're only giving 30% away on that 21,000, you're still walking with $9,000 cash positive from one deal. And do you think you're only going to do one deal when you're getting $5,000 worth of leads a month? I would sure hope not. You should be walking away with at least $20,000 a month on your $5,000 spend while building somebody else's abilities to scale with you. And all of those actions that I just listed to you are scalable, that you can hand off to other people as you grow and as you earn your money without digging into your bank account. So I just wanted to share that today. That's the very short version of it. If you would like help with it, I know there's a lot of people on this call that are doing those things and implementing them on a daily basis. But that is the basic structure of building a business and using complete leverage. If you're not doing that, then what does everyone on this call say? You're working a high paying job, right? So build a sustainable business. And my problem with working a high paying job is when you step out of it, you don't get paid anymore. So
Right.
build something that can pay you, build something that you are the face of. And even when you step away, now, like I've sold 4 houses this year, guys. And this is my first year of running and scaling a team, and we're over 70 million closed. And that's like, COVID money, dude. I know, like, I'm not up to Dave Lawson friggin' money, but that's because what do you got me beat by 20 million already, Dave? You guy. But those are things
I
that
was just looking, we just hit 50 under contract for 69 million. That's just what's under
Nice.
contract, not closed.
Yeah, you're bad.
But it's because of what Ross is saying. When I prepared for this, we were talking about doing one-timing things, guys. Doing something you do over and over and over. You do it once really well. Your processes, you have SOPs, for all of your emails, for all of your marketing, right? I was just going to say, you got to have an assistant, or you are one, right? I use the example, you can make $1,000 an hour doing income generating activities, or if you pay somebody to do it for you, you pay them 25, but if you do the work, they're twice as good at you. So you're working for $12.50 an hour versus 1,000, right? So that's what you do. You scale everything, right? And for the personal stuff, I had another list, but we don't have time. But absolutely what Ross is saying is the right way. The thing is, guys, we don't have a job, we have a business. You need to think like a business owner. If you think like a business owner, you spend some time each and every week working on your business instead of buying and selling real estate, listing and buy, right? You got to work on the business. So that was great. Thanks, Ross.
I love that, Dave. Dave always gives sound advice. That's how you run a profitable business, right? We went off on a tangent there a little bit with FSBOs and everything, but it all equals profit, you guys. We're trying to have profitability and scalability. How do you do that? Dave is the Gandalf.
If you want, give me 1 minute. We got 1 minute left. Yep. So I'm just going to tell you what I wrote down. First of all, consistency is the key in everything you do, and it's in marketing. Your number one and almost only job, if you don't have any money, is lead generation. So if your number one job is lead generation, you need to do it every day. You've got to have a phenomenal morning routine. It's been shown that 80 to 85% of all real estate is made before noon. So I always tell people I'm coaching, give me your schedule before noon and I'll tell you how much money you're going to make, right? You have to have a plan, PLAN. What does that stand for? You need to prospect, lead generation, appointments with buyers and sellers, negotiating contracts. Those are the 4 things that make you money if you're working in your business. And of course, the marketing will help you with all of that. The other thing I wrote down is referrals. You never get off a phone call. You never get off an appointment. When I talk to anybody, I'm always asking for a referral. I just got a referral out of an EXP agent in really close to you, Cam, in South Florida. Sent us the client. We just put 4 seasons under contract with them for $4.3 million. It's because I'm out there and I talk to the agents. Don't be a secret agent. I wrote down, and then as expireds come up, don't try the shotgun approach, try the sniper, right? So I love somebody that said pick 3 or 4 that you want and then go and knock on the door. So there, that was what I prepared, Pete. So
Listen,
that's as
that
fast
was
as I can.
money. That's the best way to end before a holiday weekend. Dave giving us the plan and the money and what you need to do to be consistent and make this happen. So that's awesome. I love it.
Great stuff.
All right,
today,
guys, listen,
Great
pass
stuff.
this along. Yeah, pass this along to anybody that you have. Everybody have a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. If you're looking for this recording, be part of the Facebook group, the tribe on Facebook. And I know that Mitch puts those on there. If not, you can reach out to Mitch. He can get it to you. But great stuff today, you guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you next Thursday, all right? Invite your friends. Let's make it more interactive so Matt Battiata can answer a lot of questions like he's on a game show. I love it. All right? Talk to you guys soon.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Happy Memorial Day, everyone.